Welcome back to Freedom Forest. It's a beautiful day here in early June and we have got a busy weekend ahead of us of clearing and planting, building, and we're also going to take you for a look around and show you what's happening here right now. The food forest is really coming to life at the moment. We've got everything greening up and growing nicely. All of the berries are forming up and coming on really well. And the flowers are buzzing with bees and insects. We've got June berries, blackcurrants, gooseberries, blueberries, lots of strawberries, and the raspberry canes are covered in flowers. Our main potato bed is coming on really well. This is mainly the Sapo potatoes in here and then our favourite pink fir apples. And we've also got lots of other volunteers dotted around the place. This side is actually our sweet potato bed, but as you can see we do have several volunteer potatoes in there also. Germination and growth has been very slow this spring with the erratic weather, but all of our peas are coming along nicely now, as is our accidental strawberry bed. And the beets that I sowed direct back at the end of March are finally coming along too. The new season cabbages and kales that you may have seen me planting out in our video a few weeks ago are growing on really nicely and looking great. And the perennial kale and last year's kale has been filling the hungry gap nicely. All of the garlic is fattening up really nicely now, particularly this elephant garlic, which seems to be everybody's favourite, including mine. I'll be harvesting the garlic around about the 21st of June for the summer solstice, and I always really look forward to that day. Hardneck garlic will send up scapes or flowers near harvest time. This is totally normal, but it is best to snip them off as soon as they form so that the energy goes into the developing bulb rather than the flower. They're delicious used as a garlic substitute in most dishes, particularly in stir-fries. As beautiful as this wild space is here, we do have to rehome some of these chives and have a little bit of a clear out along the front here, because this is actually one of our Three Sisters planting areas. So we just need to make some more space for corn, beans and squash, but all of the rest of this wild area will be left as is. It's a perfect site for the Three Sisters growing because the squash love to just trail down the bank, and also this gets really good full sun here. We'll be doing another video on that though soon, so you can check it out. This bed that I've started clearing here has been completely taken over by self-seeded sea beet. Whilst it is a brilliant crop, it's not the right place for it here. So I'm going to continue clearing this bed at some point over the weekend, and then we're going to re-sow it with 2 types of swede seed, because June is the perfect time for sowing your swede. Sea beet is actually one of the parent plants that perpetual spinach was originally bred from. And the roots on even some of these tiny plants are super strong. Now that things have warmed up, you can plant all of your sun-loving veggies outside. Even though we have a polytunnel full of tomatoes, I still like to plant a few outside as well, just as a comparison. I'm planting most of our courgettes in this bed here, which I cleared last week. We've got about 5 different varieties that we're trying this year, including a green round heritage variety which I've not tried before, so that will be exciting to see how that one turns out. Courgettes are hungry plants and they like a reasonable amount of moisture, so I'm adding a fresh layer of wood chip to the top of this bed now that they're in. The wood chip mulch retains water really well, and it also feeds the soil as it breaks down. Because the wood chip mulch retains water so well, we normally only water our courgettes and squash in once or twice when they're newly planted, unless it's been unusually hot and dry, that is. Dan's planting out sweet corn and spaghetti squash here, amongst the volunteer potatoes, as this is another of our 3 sisters beds, and I'm dotting a few courgettes in some extra space. This bed here is where we've got all of our carrots, onions and leeks planted as companions. I've got a big tray of early leeks here that I sowed back in February to finish off this bed here, but I need to give it a clear out first. And as you can see, this bed is a little bit of an experiment because I have already been growing carrots in here, but not with lots of onions and leeks planted around them. So we'll see how that goes. I am going to refresh this bed with a bit of fresh compost and wood chip once I've cleared it out in a minute as well, and then I'll get the leeks planted. I'm sowing a row of Autumn King carrots in the middle, with 2 rows of multi-sown leeks either side. We're building frames for our runner and French beans. We're reusing some of these old metal poles that we found when we cleared the land where our polytunnels are. It's lucky beans and strawberries make good companions, as they'll be sharing this space this year, since we didn't quite get all of the strawberry runners out of this bed in time. I've got runners and a few cobra French beans to plant. I should have had more of the cobras, but the germination has been very poor on this variety this year. We've got plenty of beans overall though, as we have different varieties with our 3 sisters plantings, and a few in the polytunnel too. Over the next couple of weeks, I'll be sowing another round of brassicas, including purple sprouting broccoli and more of our favourite green kales. And we've also got some seed for orac and callaloo to try, thanks to one of our lovely followers who has given us those seeds. We don't normally sow any more chard or spinach because that just self-seeds regularly here, but we are excited about trying something new. Good morning, good morning. It is day 2 of our big planting weekend and it's a lot more grey and cooler today, so we're actually going to get in the tunnel and do quite a lot of our plantings that we need to do in there. So we're going to go and see what Dan's up to in T2.
Been very busy actually. You may have already seen the video of me preparing this tunnel, and now it's coming to do some planting. So I've got a nice row in the middle here of tomatoes, and then in between those we've got some marigolds for a bit of companion planting, and then over this side we've got a nice row of sweet potatoes going all the way down to the bottom, at the back of the bed, and then I've just been making these lovely baling twine climbing strings for our melons, so we can kind of have these up going on 4 tiers like that to give them some space. And other than that, really, we've got a few chilies, and I've got all sorts of plants down on the floor here as well to go in. Like,
everything's coming along really nicely in this polytunnel. The aubergines are starting to put on some good size, as are the Cape gooseberries. And then we've got tomatoes which are starting to flower, and they also need side shooting already, so I'm going to get busy with that in a minute. And then I've got a few more plants to go in too. We've got some Thai basil here, which I'm just going to give a little bit of a haircut before I plant it out, because that will help it to bush more instead of getting tall and leggy. We've got a couple more tomatoes to go in, some loofahs which I'm really excited about, a couple more sweet and hot chilies, and then the cucumbers which are almost ready to go in as well. Getting to this point where all of our summer veggies are planted out is always quite a monumental time for us. It means that we can sit back and enjoy the summer a little more and just turn our attention to some much needed weeding and general maintenance for a while.
well, we've got pretty much everything we wanted to get done this weekend now.
Except for my swede seeds, but they can wait until next weekend. But now we are enjoying one of our favourite things, which is a fresh sourdough sandwich, and it's packed with loads of lettuce and goodies which I've just picked from the beds, and our favourite mushroom coffee.
Yeah, very much looking forward to that. And we'd like to thank you for watching and hope you've enjoyed the video. And of course, please be sure to subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, and hit the like button, and then you're more likely to see each time we put out a new video on your homepage. Well,
Peace and plants, guys.
peace and plants.
Cheers.
Cheers.